What's up, everybody? Hold on just for a second while I get all this the stream and computer stuff figured out. Go live. Here we go. So now I am live on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitch. All right, I'm good to go. What's up, everybody? My name's Devin, and I am going to be reading the news for you guys today. Usually I do more sports commentary and sports play-by-plays, but now I'm going to be reading the news, and these are definitely the least watched videos out of all of them, but they do seem to like them a little bit more on Facebook. I can't really wait for people to come, so I'm just going to start reading, and if people come, that's great, and it's going to be up there no matter what. All right, here we go. And take a look at that. Have the computer screen up for you guys. Check that out. First article. To understand the coup in Zimbabwe, you need to know more about Grace Mugabe. Wow, well that had a nice ring to it. But a coup in Zimbabwe does not sound good. But let's read that one again. Chipo Dendir is the writer. To understand the coup in Zimbabwe, you need to know more about Grace Mugabe. And let's hope that's pronounced Mugabe, because that is the best damn title I've ever seen. Way to go, Washington Post. But look at these two people. We got the president, Robert Mugabe, and his wife, Grace. They're you know what? They have their fists up in the air. That looks pretty aggressive. All right, here we go. In Zimbabwe, the military has taken control of the capital. Man, these names are so hard. Harare. In Zimbabwe, the military has taken control of the capital, Harare. I don't know. With tanks and troops stationed around the city, its army generals officially announced around 4 a.m. local time on Wednesday that President Robert Mugabe and his family are safe and sound, and their security is guaranteed. While General Constantine Chiwenga insists it's not a military takeover, it's, quote, safe and secure for those of us who study African politics, is code for secured. This effectively means that the first family is now under some type of arrest, and those closest to the First Lady Grace Mugabe, who until the takeover appeared to be in charge of the ruling party, have been arrested for attempting to recolonize the country. Wow. Well, this got really confusing really fast. And the first articles are always tough. So it sounds like the army generals, so the military went into the capital, and I even remember reading last night somewhere that people saw tanks in the capital of Zimbabwe, and they're like, no, that's not us. And then I guess at 4 a.m. local time, they had to say, yeah, that is us, actually. We're the only one with tanks around here. And they're saying that the president is safe, but it sounds like they're trying to get the president and the president's wife out. You know what? Let's just read that paragraph again. While General Constantine Chiwenga insists it's not a military takeover, for those of us who study African politics is also code for secured. This effectively means that the first family is now under some type of arrest, and those closest to the First Lady Grace Mugabe, who until the takeover appeared to be in charge of the ruling party, have been arrested for attempting to recolonize the country and undermine the revolution. Okay. This type of coup is called a, quote, guardian coup. The army, at least for now, claims that it has no intention of staying in power longer than is needed to restore order. It remains unclear what, quote, restoring order means. Yeah, so were they doing a bad job or something? It sounds like, the charge of trying to recolonize a country that you're in charge of, I don't know, that charge, they're charged with recolonizing and undermining the revolutionary. You know what? That just sounds like something they'd say, and they're just trying to take over. At the heart of Zimbabwe's political and economic crisis is the survival of long-term ruling party ZANU-PF. In my work, I have argued that ZANU-PF survived in part because the country's political and economic stability declined over the last decade. Nearly a quarter of the adult population emigrated, leaving no one to challenge the ruling party, as a weakening opposition facing a strong, stable ZANU-PF made change unlikely. Man, this is really confusing. At the heart of Zimbabwe's political and economic crisis is the survival of the long-term ruling party ZANU-PF. So that must be the party that the woman Grace was in charge of, or appeared to be in charge of. In my work, I have argued that ZANZU-PF survived in part because of the country's political and economic stability declined over the last decade, nearly a quarter of the adult, leaving no one in the weakening opposition facing very strong. However, recently, ZANZU-PF has fractured and destabilized. Why? One person whose motives are central to the crisis is Grace Mugabe. Since the election in 2013, under Grace Mugabe's leadership, ZANZU-PF expelled key party members, including former Vice President Emerson Mnangagwa, which appears to have been triggered the army's intervention. For months, the capital has. This one is way too confusing. We're gonna move on. If this one appears back in the news feed for in the next video, we'll do double time on that one. This one was a tough one to start out on. Moving on. He had a very snappy title though, but I did not understand what the problem was. It took too long. All right, here we go. Senators clash over last-minute changes to tax bill. And you know what? That's a pretty good photo. And that's what is that? Mitch McConnell? Oh no, that's Orrin Hatch. Man, he has been around for so long. Like even when I was a kid, he was like around. That's Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat from Oregon, left clash with Senator Orrin Hatch from Utah hearing during the Finance Committee on Wednesday. Well, you know what? At least they're talking about it. Some work in some direction is probably a good thing. Aren't they supposed to be clashing about this stuff? Washington, Republican and Democratic senators clashed on Wednesday over changes the Republicans made to their sweeping tax legislation late Tuesday night, as the momentum behind the tax overhaul showed no signs of slowing, with votes expected in both chambers of Congress later this week. So, as the momentum behind the tax overhaul showed no signs of slowing. So it sounds like they're really going to push for this one. The Republicans are like, we've wanted to do this for so long. Check out this. I mean, this tax plan really has nothing to do with Trump. We've been working on this for years. And obviously, read it. This was not made by him or his people. This is good. Let's just get this by. And yeah, it sounds like they're supposed to be fighting over it. Democrats attacked Republicans for inserting a repeal to the Affordable Care Act requirement that most people have health insurance into the tax bill, for imposing a 2025 expiration date for individual. All right, we're gonna have to start this one over again. Democrats attacked Republicans for inserting a repeal of the Affordable Care Act requirement that most people have health insurance into the tax bill, and for imposing a 2025 expiration date for individual tax cuts while making the corporate tax cuts permanent. So I guess the Republicans are trying to sneak something in, and the Democrats are trying to catch it. Quote, "This bill seems to get worse by the hour," said Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee. This is not just another garden variety attack on the Affordable Care Act. This is a repeal of the law. Repealing the health law's so-called individual mandate allows Republicans to save more than $300 billion over 10 years. Repealing the health law's so-called individual mandate allows Republicans to save more than. Why would it allow Republicans to save so much more money? Anyway, according to the Congressional Budget Office, 13 million fewer people would be insured after a decade without the mandate. All right, so it sounds like they're trying to pull. Who knows? You know what? I'm off to not the greatest start. I got to keep this moving. These have been tough ones. With this tax bill, I think they know that they might have a winner here on their hands, and they're getting too excited. Now they're trying to do too much with it, and then the Democrats are like, no way. African politics. Bannon to stick with more. Say people close to bright. Oh, this has to do with the senator running, the attorney general that was hitting on teenagers. Here we go. Something makes me think there's going to be an ad. Do we wait? No, maybe if I just turn down the sound right here, just right off the bat. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's not going to go. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Just turn it down. Okay, here we go. Sources close to Breitbart News chairman Stephen Bannon insist he is sticking by embattled Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, even as high-profile conservatives cut ties with the candidates less than a month before the election day. People who have spoken with Bannon and others who are familiar with this thinking say reports that he's having second thoughts about his support of Moore are overcooked. The Daily Beast reported Tuesday that Bannon is privately discussing whether the allegations of sexual misconduct against Moore have become too serious to overcome. Bannon could be looking to save his political capital for the scores of primary challenges he's planning for Republican senators up for re-election in 2018, the report says. Wow. So anyway, they're just reporting on what Steve Bannon is doing, because we live now in a society in which the boss of a media company has significant power. And not only that, he was Trump's right-hand man and still supports him. I don't know. It's almost... It's like the whole, that's no good. The fact that Bannon, what he thinks matters. The fact that what he thinks and what he's doing actually matters to a significant point in which it's news like that. That's a bad thing for our society, and maybe kind of explains the Trump phenomena. A violent psychopath caught by police in California after escaping Hawaii mental hospital. Oh man, so this guy's got to be a strong swimmer. Police in Northern California on Wednesday arrested a violent psychopath accused of murder who had escaped a Hawaiian psychiatric hospital earlier this week. Randall Saito, 59, was arrested after Honolulu police received a tip that he was on his way to a brother's home in Stockton, California, said Honolulu. That tip was forwarded to authorities in Stockton. Saito left the Hawaiian State Hospital on Sunday, took a taxi to a chartered plane bound for the island of Maui, and then boarded another plane to San Jose, California. Kim said he received word that Saito had been arrested. Well, wow, that's a pretty good escape plan. Saito was acquitted of a gruesome 1979 murder because of insanity. See, this is why we got to turn down this. Oh, gosh dang it! See, now that counts as a hit for them, and I didn't even do it on purpose. You know what? We're moving on. You know what? This guy's got acquitted for murder way back in the day, 20 years ago. Planned an escape, and they caught him. Uh-oh. Now we're on to Lonzo Ball. This one we've talked about numerous times, and I've talked about it on the Lakers shows. Actually, I haven't checked. I just got to make sure everything is working and people are watching. Hey, Bald Eagle Gamer, what's up? Thanks for stopping by, and it turns out people are kind of watching, so that is good. Usually, you know, these news videos, they're not high performers in terms of the videos that I do. But slowly, who knows? Maybe I'll get better at it. Don't count on China. Oh, no, we got to go back to the basketball. 3 UCLA basketball players are suspended indefinitely after being arrested in China. Well, this is just getting worse and worse for these guys. So, I mean, you have to imagine UCLA is pissed. But the first priority is we got to get these guys out of China. UCLA announced Wednesday it has indefinitely suspended LiAngelo Ball, Cody Riley, and Jalen Hill from the men's basketball team after the 3 freshman players were arrested last week in China for shoplifting from 3 stores, creating an international incident in which President Trump and Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping eventually got involved. Oh man, these guys are going to get in so much trouble. But at least, honestly, you can say what you want about Trump. The fact that he understands media is probably only helping these kids right now. Oh, went too far. UCLA coach Steve Alford announced the suspension at what the school billed as a news conference, but in reality was a series of statements from 3 players, as well as Alford and athletic director Dan Guerrero. None of the 5 men took questions from more than 50 reporters in attendance. Alford said that during the suspension, this is indefinite because the school is currently going through the legal process in which, with the 3 students, they will not participate in basketball workouts or practices, will not travel with the team, and will not dress for home games. Man, so, quote, these men are going to have to prove through their words and actions that this isn't who they are, and they will not let their identity be defined by the incident. So that statement was actually good news, meaning that at some point we will let them back on the team. But if this is all the trouble that they get in at UCLA, I think that's a win for them, because this to me, this seems like an expellable offense. I mean, the fact that they're still in the school and maybe can play basketball in the future is a total win. And I thought this was going to cost LiAngelo's dad so much money. Sounds like it's cleaning up pretty nicely. Let's see. Trust has to be earned. Oh, even Trump's tweet. Man, these guys are going to get hooked up. In the wake of Trump's tweet Wednesday morning asking if he would be thanked for his intervention in the case, Trump appealed to Z on the students' behalf. Alfred Guerrero and the three players thanked Trump, as well as the rest of the government, for their help, as well as the Chinese police and government for treating the students well. The news conference began with all three players giving short, similar statements expressing their remorse on the matter. All three admitted to stealing from the stores and made a commitment to try to make things right in the future. Wow, this is wrapping up so well for the kids. I'd like to start off by saying sorry for stealing from the stores in China, said Ball. Among those insisting that the trio be suspended for the entire season was Los Angeles Times columnist Bill Plaschke, who cared. The three Bruins were reportedly accused of stealing sunglasses. Yeah, but are they out of trouble? They should. Oh, yeah, but they're not talking about their legal problems in China. That seems to be the important part. The arrest of the players coincided with a trip. You know what? I don't know what's going on with All right, well, this actually didn't say anything about the... Let's hope that I missed something earlier in the article and Trump got these guys off and they're on their way back and they are not in China anymore. You three players land in okay, so I missed that. These guys are back and it could not have turned out any better for them because going to jail in China sounds awful. And you know what? I'm not a big fan of Trump, not gonna lie. If he does something right and he represents American interests well, we got to at least give him credit sometimes. And this one, I'm glad that he got those kids out of trouble. They're dumb. They didn't know what they were doing. We're moving on. World. Don't count on China's support on North Korea. Well, I'm sure they're not going to help us now because they helped us out with the basketball people. We just wasted a lot of capital on those three basketball players. I'm sure China's like, dude, now you want us to help you out on North Korea? You know what? Let's hope that Trump is actually doing diplomacy and a little more than getting kids out of trouble. All right, what's going on? Bloomberg, are you gonna give me? Here we go. Don't count on China's support on North Korea. U.S. panel says the U.S. and its allies in Asia shouldn't. Before we move on to this one, I would just like to, now that we're done with the Lonzo Ball thing, I promise I won't talk about it anymore. It could not have turned out any better for those players. And I'm going to look for a final figure on how much it cost. Maybe because I'm sure they had to pay legal fines in China. Who knows? But if that could not have turned out any better for those three people and the Americans in general. You know what, Trump, and he definitely used it as an opportunity to like get some media attention. See, I'm doing work, I'm doing stuff. He definitely used it for that reason. But you know what? If you do it, you're allowed to use it for that reason. And he did it. And way to go, Trump. But I'm sure Obama could have got him off too. I'm just saying that at least he did it. Don't count on China's support on North Korea's U.S. panel says. The U.S. and its allies in Asia shouldn't assume China will fully cooperate with the campaign to curtail North Korea's nuclear arms program, a top priority of President Donald Trump. So basically, a top priority on this big overseas foreign trip that Trump's going on. It's like he's going to summer camp. We got to get help on North Korea. And then now this guy Anthony says, they're not going to help us out. Despite concerns over North Korea's advancing nuclear and missile programs, China remains the country's largest trading partner and differs from the U.S. over the best way to handle Kim Jong-un's reclusive regime. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to worry about it. Kim Jong-un has no incentive to nuclear bomb anybody because then he knows he's gone. But he does have every incentive to say that he's going to do it because he needs to fare better in these negotiations. And you know what? I'm pretty old. And for as long as I can remember, every 2 years, North Korea, and it's always around negotiations, they're so crazy. And, you know, it's just so much media attention. And really, we don't have to worry about them nuking anybody. And if anything, I think we should be helping them out on their missiles, because if you can build missiles, if they can actually build a missile that can go into orbit and then come down and hit where they want it, we should be giving them high fives. No, maybe no nuclear stuff, but the missiles, way to go. Making missiles is cool, and if you can do that, that's an accomplishment. But the fact of the matter is that they've already had missiles on South Korea for like over 30 years. And they can do the same amount of destruction, basically, as a nuclear bomb by firing off 300 ballistic missiles just right into South Korea. They've effectively had a nuclear bomb, and they just threaten it. So you don't have to worry about North Korea. You can trust me on that. Moving on. Roy Moore's attorney offers bizarre defense. I mean, you know what? I am so sick of here. I'm just gonna keep going. We all know what's going on. Now it's just media talking about the media coverage, and when the media coverage kind of turns in on itself, and it's what Colbert was always so good at, was getting the media to talk about the media coverage of it. So they would get the media to talk about what was Colbert saying about it. And as soon as you get the media talking about the media, you go into a cyclone of shit, and you can't get your way out of it. And a lot of times nothing adds up or makes sense. And with this Roy Moore story, now all of a sudden it's, oh, well, they're covering it this way. This says something about them, and they're covering it this way. And it's now not about this guy Roy Moore, and it's about them talking about other people's coverage, and it's media versus media. Moving on. Overwhelming Australian vote to endorse same-sex marriage exposes growing rift. I don't know that. This one might be a bit of a clickbaity title, because overwhelming people supported this, so that means that they're all in unison, but then it exposes a growing rift. Well, if anything, if more people are on board, that rift is moving, and it's not like getting deeper, it's just moving. This one might be a bit of a, with the Washington Post, they all do it. Sydney, the Australian vote to legalize same-sex marriage by a substantial majority, overcoming a well-organized religious campaign against it, triggered elation in major cities Wednesday, as it should. A non-binding referendum conducted by mail found 61% of Australians in favor of allowing gay couples to wed, even though the measure was expected to be approved. The size of the win and the unusually large participation of 12.7 million Australians out of 16 million eligible voters added to its political legitimacy. Wow, well, you know what? You got to give them credit for voting. And that's why, in America, we don't really vote. We don't really vote that much. Although the vote isn't binding, all major political party leaders have promised to implement the decision, which would make Australia one of about a dozen countries that allow gay couples to wed. The people of Australia have spoken. I intend to make their wish the law of the land. Boom. All right, well, good for them. Everybody's, when we're doing like human rights stuff and we're comparing country to countries, everybody kind of moves at their own pace, but it's all skewed in the same direction, especially the Western countries, but it's really all of them. And, when they let women vote or let gays get married or get rid of slavery, all these times, everyone moves at their own speed. And it sounds like they got it in Australia, so we should be happy for them. And you know what? The small amount of people that are very opposed to gay people getting married, you lost. And you can keep on fighting, but you'll probably continue to keep on losing. But you know what? Keep going. And also, when it comes to gay rights, and just human rights in general, like throughout the history of time, there's never been a time when like a group of people got rights and then that country didn't flourish afterwards. Like, it's not like we let women do stuff and then the country flourished. That's just the way it goes. And it's kind of what has been happening over time. So we'll see what happens. But I used to say like, oh, well, the rights are going so fast, so fiercely for gay rights, like around the country. Maybe if it goes so fast in one direction, that means it can easily come back. And then so you got to be worried about it. But you know what? It seems to be pretty much in stone and going there everywhere around the world. So that's good news. Good news if you think that people should have equal rights. Why has RT registered as a foreign agent with the U.S.? All right, so here's one of a media article talking about a media company talking about another media company. RT is Russia Today. News outlet RT has registered as an agent of a foreign government in America after years of accusations that it was propaganda arm of the Russian government. So what is RT and why has it become the subject of fierce debate in the U.S.? It was a late February afternoon when millions of Americans' phones and laptops started buzzing with breaking news from the White House. General Flynn was fired amid the security, blah, blah, blah. The White House has fired President Trump had asked National Security Advisor Michael Flynn to leave the White House. Flynn had misled Vice President Pence about his contacts with the Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak, and was the first resignation in the new presidential administration, but one media outlet, RT, reported it differently. General Flynn retires. Okay, misleading headlines are only part of RT's approach to news, which makes them, what is RT? Yes, we all know that news media companies need clicks, and they do shady stuff, that is for sure. What matters is the impact of it. RT originally, Russia Today began broadcasting in 2005 in English, Arabic, Spanish, and the subsidiary. You know what? I gotta start my own news company. The broadcaster focused on Russia. Anyway, it sounds like they are registering as a foreign agent. So I guess that means that they are allowed to do this propaganda. So you know what? I'm gonna keep moving on. How long have I been going? I gotta keep this moving. Only 26 minutes. Anybody watching? Seems like some people are watching. I don't know. Some people are watching. What's up, everybody? I'm gonna keep going. Some people are watching. It's okay. U.S. Cards Against Humanity is doing underscroll to stop Trump's border wall, making jokes. Step 1, come up with a random cheeky surprises to mail to people. Step 2, get people to pay $15 for said surprises. Step 3, profit. Cards Against Humanity, the popular, unfailingly profane game that never fails to liven up the party, has used some variation of this formula every holiday season over the past several years with great success. This year is no different, but the stakes are higher. If the game's creators are to be believed, on Tuesday it kicked off its 2017 holiday mail campaign with the Democratic title Cards Against Humanity Saves America. Its clear target, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a preposterous golem who's afraid of Mexicans. Cards Against Humanity wrote on a website for the promotion. Yeah, well, it sounds like they're just making more cards. And you know, they can, every time they make like upgraded cards, the game's more fun because once you use the cards, it's not quite as fun anymore. So they got to keep on updating. It sounds like they're going after Trump. The campaign to impeach President Trump, a user's guide. Well, it's not like he has to do anything illegal. That's what's so crazy about impeachment. It's just a vote. It's a vote. He doesn't even have to do anything. Everyone always talks about it like, oh, well, what did he do? Did he lie? Well, it comes down to a vote. Him doing something illegal and having it being obvious he did something illegal matters, I guess. But in the end, it's still a vote. He doesn't have to do anything. On Wednesday morning, 4 House Democrats solemnly faced a half-full room of reporters and announced that they would try to impeach the president. Yes, again, the campaign to remove Donald Trump from the White House, elevated by liberal donor Tom Steyer's $20 million vote to impeach ad buys, remains an off-on distraction in Congress. Supporters of impeachment point out that there were similar long-shot efforts to impeach Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton. They are, well, if this turns into the equivalent of trying to appeal the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, which they just did every few weeks or something, like every time they could, you know, I guess good for them, but it doesn't really accomplish anything. Do I think that here's the thing, I'm not a fan of Trump, but if what you care about is the political ball on the field that they're playing, so there's all the stuff going down in the media, and then Trump might be saying a lot of stuff that he wants to do, but in the end there is a political ball that they have to push, and this ball is much tougher to push than you would think. It takes lawyers fighting. That's mainly what it is. And doing this, legislation and government, is something that you have to do. And it appears that Trump is completely incompetent at actually doing it effectively. So let's say we do impeach Trump. Trump's the worst thing in the world. Get him out. He's a liar. You say the worst things about it. Let's get rid of Trump. Now all of a sudden you're putting in a true conservative Republican who actually understands how to move the ball around. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place if you like Obama and you hate Trump. Because honestly, if you like Obama's policies, you'd much rather Trump stay in there because you know he's not going to do anything. Where Pence can actually move that ball. So you have to make your decision, what's better? And honestly, at the very beginning, I was very scared. And now that I see how everything is going down, and I see that the institutions of the government hold up, and it was built in a way that can handle a lot. You say what you will about the U.S. government, all you want. It can obviously handle a lot. Maybe Trump is better than Pence. If you are a liberal. And I mean... Anyway, moving on. See it. Fox News viewers outraged after Shepard Smith debunked Hillary Clinton uranium scandal. The New York Daily News. So I guess this is a video. Maybe we gotta watch this video. I'll try to get it up for you guys. Oh, there you go. Maybe turn that up a little bit. If there's an ad.
Catherine Harris on the Hill. Catherine, thank you. Republicans repeatedly mentioned and sometimes asked questions about Uranium One. The Attorney General Jeff Sessions says he needs a factual basis to appoint a special counsel to investigate Hillary Clinton. One has not yet been appointed, though Attorney General Sessions says he has asked federal prosecutors to evaluate issues presented by House Republicans, including Uranium One. Here's the exchange between Jeff Sessions and the Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio.
What's it going to take to actually get a special counsel?
We will use the proper standards, and that's only thing I can tell you, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I appreciate
you can have your idea, but sometimes we have to study what the facts are and to evaluate whether it meets the standard.
Well said. So
required.
I hate to say it, but this guy Sessions, I kind of like him. He's just such a good old boy Southern lawyer.
Uranium One is the name of a South Africa-based mining company. Back in 2007, it merged with Eurasia Energy, based in Canada. And in 2010, the mining arm of the Russian nuclear agency, Rosatom, bought...
All right, I can't, you know what, I can't keep going. Maybe, you know what, maybe I'm just not in the zone today. But basically, what's going on, and I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong about this one. Don't take this one to the bank. But I think what's going on is that there were connections between Hillary and uranium companies. And since she's the Secretary of State, that was her last job. I don't know. It was very believable to me. And now they want a special investigation to investigate Hillary. And the problem with that is that just diverts resources away from the FBI, possibly down a hole where there's nothing there. So yeah, I mean the FBI, I mean they have a job to do, and I think that in the end they're not stupid. Here we go. And don't you have to investigate it? Isn't the FBI only like the cops, and then the Attorney General is the lawyer? So those are two totally different people. But I think they were asking the wrong person that question, to tell you the truth. Anyway, we're moving on. Defying gloomy predictions, Obamacare enrollment surges. Well, here's the thing about Obamacare is when you do anything new, like even Bitcoin, it's new, you're going to get massive fluctuations in what happens because it's totally new. But over time, those fluctuations are going to get slower and slower and slower. And if they're anyway, so it's for you guys, it's up this way. Fluctuations over time, it's going to go like that, and it's going to kind of even out. But as long as it's an uptrend, then you know it's working. And honestly, over the years, we are seeing indications that Obamacare is working. Does that mean that it's perfect? Absolutely not. There's no way Obama could have got it right the very first time. And he would even admit, like, yeah, there's stuff we can do better. So the question is not yes or no on Obamacare, because part of it works. The question is, what tweaks do we do to make it better? And then let's try to keep Obamacare's name on there so we don't call it Trump Care, and then Trump gets all the credit for Obama. But whatever about that. Here we go. Doomsday headlines about Obamacare enrollment may be having an unforeseen consequence. Booming signups in the troubled insurance marketplaces. Obamacare's fifth open enrollment season the first under President Donald Trump is off to a surprisingly robust start despite the brutal developments of the past year, skyrocketing premiums, dwindling competition, unremitting Republican efforts to eradicate it. Signups surged as soon as enrollment opened November 1st, easily surpassing the number of Americans getting coverage during the opening days of the final two sign-up periods under Obama's administration. Well, you know what? It's like the South Park rule when Cartman he buys the amusement park, and then he wouldn't let anybody go, and then all of a sudden everybody wanted to go. And I think what this is people saying, dude, this might get taken away. Let's get it while we can. And it's like, you know, a lot of times they'll say, yeah, well, people speak with their pocketbook. Like when they're saying if there's a movie good, it made tons of money, they spoke with their money. And I don't know. I think this is an indication of people, like, for the politicians to go, holy crap, people do like this. Maybe we shouldn't talk so fast and loose with this. And anyway, this is a good sign for Obamacare, because I think then the politicians would be less inclined to actually try to take it from somebody. The more people that have it, the more people are going to be mad when it's taken away. Defying global. Oh, here we go. Now we're at business. Oh no, that's technology. Gotta go a little bit farther back. Here we go. Frontier will triple its size over the next 10 years. Parent places $49.5 billion order for Airbus planes. Sounds like Frontier Airlines, the business, is making a major bet, and they're expanding. But I don't know. For some reason, $50 billion for an order of planes seems pretty cheap. 430 planes ordered by Indigo will be spread across domestic and international carriers. Wow, 430 planes. That is so many planes. Man, I wish I could buy planes. Oh wow, these guys have the best jobs ever. Just buying airplanes. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Airbus signed $49.5 billion deal Wednesday to sell 430 planes to Phoenix-based private equity firm that owns Frontier Airlines. Of course, it's private equity that owns this stuff. Meanwhile, Boeing reached an agreement with low-cost carrier Fly Dubai to sell 225 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, a deal valued at $27 billion. The air show closes Thursday. Well, if you go on YouTube, and I know you guys are on YouTube, you can look up, like, just go to, like, man, they're like air shows, but it's when the pilots actually show off what the planes can do. And if you ever wondered, like, can this thing do a flip, like when you're in the plane? Not really, but you can see what the plane is capable of when you watch these videos, and it is so awesome. And then these people show up, and these people show up, and that's their job, to just check out the airplane, and they look and they watch it doing all sorts of stuff, and man, it's just the best job ever. I gotta get a better job. A job in which I could buy airplanes, in which I can make enough to buy airplanes. I want a plane so bad. We're moving on. It just makes me sad. And every time you see a Learjet flying, every time I see a Learjet flying, and if you live in the San Fernando Valley, there's an airport just right there, and that's where all the Learjets go. Every single time I see one, it's like dying 1,000 cuts, because I think, man, I want a Learjet so bad. Here we go. I wonder why this is under business, but this looks like a fun one. Nearby Earth-sized world may be the best candidate yet in search for alien life. Yeah, well, it turns out there's loads of planets out there, and loads of planets in the habitable zone, where we know that water is liquid. And yeah, every star we look at, they got planets. So, but also the closest star to the Earth also has planets. So if it's at anyway, another tantalizing planet has been found outside our solar system, an Earth-sized world that's our cosmic next door neighbor, and it can be just the right spot to host life. Meet Ross, blah, 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 a new discovery planet found orbiting around a small faint star known as a red dwarf. The world, which is about 1.5 times the mass of Earth, may be in the star's habitable zone, a spot where temperatures are just right, allowing liquid water. Most exciting of all is that this planet is situated just 11 light years away. Wow. But yeah, Proxima Centauri is way closer. However, Proxima Centauri isn't a very light-friendly star. Oh. Well, I know Proxima Centauri is the closest star. But I thought that they had Earth-like planets, but I guess this is a better candidate. It's too bad it's so far away. The difference between like 1.5 light years and 11 is a lot. However, Proxima Centauri isn't a very life-friendly star. Also a red dwarf, it's considered an active star, meaning it frequently burps out intense high-energy solar flares. In fact, most red dwarfs are prone to flaring, which is bad news in search for alien life outside of our solar system. Flaring stars can blast nearby planets with lots of radiation, stripping away their atmospheres and making them uninhabitable, but Ross star doesn't seem to flare much at all. Alright, so it sounds like the closest planet that we're going to get to. Well, it's not like we're going to, if we can get to Alpha Centauri and get to one of those planets, we're going to go there first. We're not going to choose to go to one that's 11 light. It sounds like, anyway, it sounds like there's plenty of targets in the solar system for planets like ours. And you know, maybe a little bit like that movie, that James Cameron movie, Avatar. There's definitely stuff like that out there. Anyway, moving on. I'm glad that one was in business and not science. So I'm glad we got to science. Amazon and Whole Foods to unveil price cuts. And this one, this just sounds like a good idea because everybody loves Whole Foods, but it's so expensive. Why not make it cheaper? And this deal right here, Whole Foods and the Whole Foods bosses got to keep their jobs. So Amazon bought it and Whole Foods held them over the coals so hardcore. And the bosses of Whole Foods get to keep their jobs. So Whole Foods isn't going to change. But I think Amazon is somehow going to make it cheaper. And that would be great news. Amazon and Whole Foods today detailed a new set of discounts for Prime members that involve price cuts on Thanksgiving items like turkeys and a whole slew of other in-house organic $365 items and those partnered organic brands. The discounts, wow, every organic brand is now want to get partnered with Amazon. The discounts announced on Whole Foods website and active starting today is yet more evidence that Amazon plans to leverage its $13.7 billion acquisition of the national grocery store chain to bring more value to its $99 a year Prime membership, sinking the online and offline benefits of the program in unprecedented ways. So it's going to be like Costco, where you got to pay a certain amount per year. But if you're saving money on because the grocery store is expensive because there's so much stuff. You're at the grocery store, you think that you're not doing that much damage, and then it's just so much stuff. So $99 a year is very cheap if you're going to be doing significant shopping at Whole Foods. I don't know. This is a really good idea. I might want to go to Whole Foods right now. I always get the sandwiches. The press release says, quote, "This offer is a sneak preview of the special savings and in-store Prime benefits Prime members can expect when Prime becomes the official rewards program of Whole Foods Market," meaning we can't expect Amazon to continue cutting prices. You know what? What time is it? I'm gonna go get a sandwich. Nobody's. Are people watching? Are people watching? One person's watching. Yeah, there's certainly people watching. What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody? I'm gonna go get a sandwich. I'm going to Whole Foods. Let's see if it's cheaper. Thanks for watching, everybody. You cut this one a little short. I didn't make it to science, but at least I got that planet one in there. And I've been going for how long? This is gonna be my shortest one, 45 minutes. So yeah, thanks for watching.